tonight, we're going to be talking about how to rank up fast. I think that's one of the most exciting things to talk about, ranking up fast and creating that culture and really how to do that. So tonight, I'm going to get ready real quick. All right, now we're ready to go. It's official, man. We're ready to make it happen. So I'm going to go and pull up my slides tonight. I'm going to get into it. A lot of you guys know all my background. I got started, in direct selling 30 years ago. You talk about, just being in the right place, the right time. That's where I was. I had a chance to meet some really wealthy people. They took a unique liking to me. They taught me the skills. They taught me the changes to make. I look back at it and, I think probably the reason why I was able to have so much success so quickly was my teachability, right? My teachability. I was so teachable. I would go to the events and we didn't have Zooms, right? Conference calls. We had conference calls and I would just get on these calls. I would record them. I would go to the live events and I would actually videotape them. And then I would go home and I would write down every word they said because I figured if I could say what they're saying, I can have the same results, right? I mean, it was like, if I say what they say, I'm going to get what they got. And that's exactly what happened. I think probably that first year, I was probably the most well-paid parrot, right? There was, because I was just a parrot. Whatever they would say, I would say it, and I almost sounded like them. If you listen to back, I've got some of my recordings from like when I was 18. I should probably convert. I got VHSs of when I was 18. I should convert them over. And if you listen to the way I talked, I sound just like my mentors, right? I literally was a parrot. And that first year I was, I didn't become wealthy my first year, but I was able to make 147,000. And I was 17 at the time. I was in high school. It was my senior year. And, everything changed for me so fast. But I think the biggest thing I would say is, how you learn stuff is not just about acquiring information, but it's about applying information, right? It's not the acquisition of knowledge, but it's the implementation, right? It's not what you know that's important. It's what you do, right? I think everybody would agree if we walked around the block for our good health, that'd probably help us out. Right. If we went for a jog this morning, it'd probably help us, but most of us probably didn't do that. Right. And I can tell you that I didn't. Right. So it's not what we know, it's what we do that makes the difference. So today I'm going to talk about how to rank advance fast. Let me go and pull up the slide deck. And today I think you're going to be pretty fired up today with this content that we've got tonight. And we're going to get into it. But, I think the biggest thing today is you want to advance fast. I think everybody would agree with that, right? You want to set the tone, you want to set the pace, and you want to have success. I mean, let's face it, right? You want to have success in Riman, and I hope my internet's okay here. But we're gonna get after it here today, and how to rank advance fast, right? This is going to be the training today. I'm going to share with you some insights. What I guess it was last week, Chris and I were together at his house, and we're like, somebody asked us on the phone, like, how did you guys hit, national director in record time, right? You guys hit national director in 6 months. How'd you do that? And I thought, you know what, maybe we should make a training of what we did that most people don't do. And that's really what today is about. And some of this stuff you're going to be doing already. Some of you, it's going to be eye-opening for you. But I'm going to break it down exactly how to rank advance fast. Okay. And I'm going to teach you how to do it. And then we're going to end up by giving you a game plan running for the next convention in Long Beach, okay, to give you a game plan for that. So let's jump into it. First step is you got to make a 100% total commitment, okay? And I love that 100% total commitment. And I think when you decide something, this is something that I think is so big, right? When you look at the word decision, it comes from the Latin word that basically means to cut off, right? Cut off, to cut away from. And basically what decision means is to cut off all other possibilities, indicating what? A commitment to a single path. When you commit, you cut off all options, right? When you decide in your mind, in your heart that you're going to rank advance, whether that's you're going to director right now, no matter what. You're going to team leader right now, no matter what. I'm going senior manager right now, no matter what. Once you decide, you make a decision, you cut off all other options, okay? You cut off all other options. And wherever you are, that's where you're at, okay? How do you get to that next level? How do you get to that next level? And I think the speed in which you do it, right? I think most people would agree with me. When you look at our business, I did a training on Monday night at HQ, and I was telling the group that was there, I know some of them are on the call right now, but I told the leaders that were there, I said, look, bottom line is what, right? There's no speed limit to how fast you do this. You ever been driving down the freeway, right? And you get pulled over by the cops because you're going too fast, right? I know none of us have ever done that, but we know that that happens. So we operate at a certain pace. And I can remember probably it was 2009, 2008, probably 2008, right? I remember I got this M4 BMW, right? And it was really fast, but I got the car in San Antonio at a convention. They gave me a car at this company I was working with, and I had to drive it back to California. And that car was fast, but it had a governor on it. Okay, and what a governor is something that would not let me go past. I think it was like 75 miles an hour. I had to go like 2,000 miles before I got to break that thing really up over 75 miles per hour. So it probably was a good thing because it kept me obviously in the speed limit, on the way home. But there was a governor on it, and a lot of us we have a governor in our brain, right? We have a governor in our brain of how fast we do things. You got to remove that governor, right? The governor in your brain is basically what you think you can operate in, right? Meaning that you think you can do it in this time frame, or you think this is a good job, or you think that you've got to remove that governor and you got to put your pedal to the metal because you got to ask yourself, are you crawling to the next rank? Are you walking to the next rank? Or are you running to the next rank? Because you can walk in this business, you can crawl in this business, and you can walk in this business. I should actually have put on there, are you running backwards, right? You don't want to run backwards, okay? You don't want to backpedal. Okay, if you're crawling, hey, if you want to do that, go for it, right? If you like that. If you want to walk, that's great. Do it. Do what you like. But I'm going to encourage you to run. Why? Because you're going to get there faster. What would happen if you ran for the next rank? What would happen if you ran all out for the next rank? Think about it. Think about what you're doing. I guess some people aren't even crawling, walking, or running. They're sitting there, right? Are you sitting? Are you crawling? Are you walking? Are you running? Are you sprinting? Are you walking backwards? I used to tell people you got to get out of reverse and get into first, right? You got to get out of reverse and you got to get into first because people can't follow in your footsteps if your feet aren't moving. Okay, so we're going to talk about that today. People can't follow in your footsteps if your feet aren't moving. So why not run? What would happen if you ran? Okay, I'm going to ask you to make a decision. So what I like to do is I like to write down my goals in the form of a question where I can see it every day. Whatever your goal is, right? You got to have goals because without goals, you're basically what we call a wandering generality. Okay, you're either a wandering generality or you're a meaningful specific. That's what my mentor taught me. You're either a wandering generality or a meaningful specific. A meaningful specific means you've got a goal, you've got a deadline, you've got a target. Okay, and we'll talk more about goal setting as we get closer to January 1st here. But what I can encourage you to understand is this. I encourage you to understand this. If you write down your goal in the form of a question, it's going to make your brain continuously think about it. Okay. What must I do right now to hit director before the Long Beach Convention? What must I do right now to hit director before the Long Beach Convention? I like that, right? Right. And you put it in your mirror where you can see it every day. You don't have to put it that big, right? Mainly if you're married and your spouse isn't involved in the business too much, they're going to be like, why is there writing all over my mirror like this? But put it in the corner of a mirror where you can see it every day. Right. I also put it as a screensaver. I put my goals as my screensaver on my phone. Right. What must I do right now to achieve the goal that I'm driving for? Right. So you've got to have goals. Goals are going to drive you. Goals are going to fire you up. Guess what the goals are going to do? Goals are going to get you focused. So you've got to be focused 100%. For you to be able to go to that next level, you've got to be 100% focused. But if you just put the goal down, right? If you put director by Long Beach Convention, that's a goal. But if you say, what must I do right now to hit director before the Long Beach Convention, and you frame it in a question, your brain's going to focus on what must you do to be able to get that to be done. And your brain is the most powerful computer on the planet. Your brain is the most powerful computer on the planet. Okay. So you want to be running right now. I'm going to talk about a 90-day run to convention. We got about 90 days. We got about 89 days exactly until convention. So I'm going to talk about 90-day run for you guys today. This is going to be great. Okay. But write it down in the form of a question. We can see it every day. That's one of the most important things to do. Now, step number 2, whip your team into a frenzy. I like this one. Whip your team into a frenzy. Okay. And the biggest way to do that is you got to ask yourself this. Are you selling hamburgers or are you opening up franchises? Right? Are you selling hamburgers or are you opening up franchises? This is a big difference. Okay. You think about McDonald's, they used to have that sign on there and they used to calculate how many billions they served. How many billions of hamburgers they served? Like 90. They had at one point, I remember back when I was a kid, it said 99 billion served. That's a ridiculous amount of burgers right now. And that's patties, right? So Big Mac counted as two, double cheeseburger count as two. It was patties. That's what that meant. Because I was wondering, what was this? People? This is hamburger patties. They served 99 billion patties at one point. Now it just says billions and billions served. But how do you get to that point? How do you get to the point where you're like McDonald's? The first thing you have to ask yourself, are you selling hamburgers or are you opening up franchises? See, in order to whip your team into a frenzy, you've got to focus on developing your team. That's why it's so important to develop yourself. That's why you being on this call today is magical. Because what you want to make sure that you're doing is you're growing to match your rank. You want to be growing to match your rank. What do I mean by that? Well, meaning simply this, right? If you grow and let's say that you hit a big position, but mentally you haven't grown as a leader, you're going to have trouble maintaining it, right? So you want to grow yourself. You want to look into the mirror and you want to grow yourself. And the best way to grow yourself is by activity, right? How do you develop skills? My mentor told me, he says, skills makes labor more valuable. Say it again. Skills makes labor more valuable. I think we'd all agree with that. Right? Skills makes labor more valuable. If you got the skills and you do 10 presentations and you do 10 presentations and 5 become planners and 5 of them become customers, that's a good skill set, right? If your skills aren't that good and you do 10 presentations, 2 people become planners, maybe a couple become customers and a couple of them, they don't pay attention, right? They become neither. So when you develop your skills, it makes the labor that you do have more value. But watch this. Watch this. You can't develop the skills without the labor. Jackpot. Skills makes labor more valuable, but guess what? You can't develop the skills without the what? Labor. You're not going to get good at playing a musical instrument by watching somebody else do it. You've got to step up and do it. Okay. How did I get good at presentations? I did a bunch of them, right? I did a bunch of them. You got to be willing to do the activity if you want to be able to have the results, but more importantly, the skills. Okay, so you want to develop your skills, but you have to ask yourself right now, am I out there just selling hamburgers? Because some people, I like to look at it like this. One of my favorite things of all times is 2 guys are doing the same thing. Okay, imagine this. One guy's out there laying brick. The other guy's building a castle. You understand? One guy's laying brick. The other is building a castle. Which one are you doing? Right? Are you out there just going through the motions and trying to sell products and maybe recruit people? Or are you trying to develop leaders? Ask yourself that question. Are you trying to develop leaders? Or are you trying to sell products? Or are you trying to recruit people? See, I'm not trying to sell products and recruit people. Do I sell products and recruit people all day long? But my main objective is what? Develop leaders. And how do you develop leaders? How do you develop leaders? You got to get people to that first earned rank. Let's talk about it today, right? You want to turn yourself into what we call a senior manager factory, okay? The hardest way to get volume is to focus on volume, right? For you to be a director, how much volume do you need? Okay, you need 600,000 volume over a 6-month period. So you need to be averaging about 100,000 a month. How do you become a team leader? Okay, you need 50,000 in volume over a 5-month period. Okay, how do you become a senior manager? 6,000 in volume over a 3-month period between anything that you buy and sell and anybody you recruit buys or sells. Okay. So ask yourself right now, are you focusing in on the volume? Are you focusing on developing new people to senior manager? Even if you're recruiting people right now and you're running for senior manager, you're not recruiting people to get them into your business. You're recruiting people so you can develop them into senior managers. You want to create leaders, okay? You want to create leaders. You want to develop people. Tell, show, try, do. Tell them how to do it, show them how to do it, let them try it, and then they know how to do it, okay? You want to develop people. So how do you whip your team into a frenzy? Well, if you're focusing in on their success, what's going to happen to your team, right? The hardest way to become a director is to focus on director. The easiest way to become a director is focus on getting your new people to senior manager, okay? Focus in on getting your new people to what? Senior manager. You've got to be developing people. You got to be getting people started and then developing them, focusing in on their success, navigating them against away from the landmines. That to me is what leadership is. Navigating people away from the landmines that are out there. We're going to talk about what that looks like today, right? So you guys all know what senior manager qualification looks like, right? 6,000 in total sales points. within a rolling 3-month period. Anything that you buy or sell and anybody you recruit buys or sells. Up to 3,000 can come from one recruit. We know that, right? So what do we want to do? We want to, number one, if you're not a senior manager right now, we got to be running for senior manager right here, right now. Okay, that's by far the most important thing right now you can be focusing in on, is running right now for senior manager. And once you hit senior manager, then your focus becomes one thing and one thing alone: developing senior managers. Okay, and then what's your next focus? There is no next focus. That becomes your focus until you become financially free. Okay, there is no third focus. You focus, number one, become a senior manager. Number two, create senior managers. That's it. And then you keep on staying at number two, developing senior managers, developing senior managers, developing senior managers, and boom, you create a team leader. Developing senior managers, developing senior managers, developing senior managers, boom, you create a team leader. Developing senior managers, developing senior managers, developing senior managers, boom, you create a team leader. That's how you do it. You focus in on becoming a senior manager factory. So when you get somebody started, why do you recruit people into Riman? Why do we recruit people into Riman? We recruit people into Riman so we can help them become leaders. Right? We're not trying to sell hamburgers. We're trying to do what? Open up franchises, right? You're trying to teach people how to do everything that you know how to do without you helping them do it. That's development. That's duplication, okay? So the more skills that you develop, the more you can train and teach other people. So think about it right now. We got to whip into our team into a frenzy. So let's look at it, right? If you get, now think about how you start's going to duplicate. I think everybody would agree with that, right? When somebody gets started, if you're getting people started at 300-point packages, they're going to have to recruit 19 people, first level, at 300-point packages to get to 6,000. Obviously, they can sell some, obviously, as well. But what I'm telling you is how you start, people are going to duplicate. If you get started and you dip your toe in the water and you get a little baby pack, you're going to have a bunch of baby pack people, right? You're going to have a bunch of baby pack people. You don't want to have a bunch of little baby 300-point set people, okay? Now, what happens is if you come in with that, that's what you're going to be looking for, right? You're going to be looking for that. But if you get started, let's say at 1,000-point package, right? You get committed, you get 1,000-point package. Now, how many 1,000-point packages do you need to recruit people to be a senior manager? You're going to need 5, right? You recruit 5 people to do the same thing, and then bam, guess what? Right? That's 6,000 in points. Okay. Obviously, you're going to be selling products along the way too, as well. But I'm giving you an example at how you start will duplicate. Okay. And I think I spelled duplicate wrong. I love when I do that. Okay. Thank you guys. For not pointing that out. Oh my God. Every week I spell something wrong. I do that on purpose so you guys know that I'm stupid, okay? But here's the deal. How you start will do. I spelled duplicate right this time, okay? So I got it wrong last time. Now I got it right this time, okay? So how you start will duplicate. If you get started at 1,500-point set, what's going to happen? You're going to need 3 people to get started at 1,500-point sets for you to be able to do what? To be 6,000, okay? To be 6,000. To be a senior manager, okay? So how you start will duplicate. Do you see that? Okay, now let me give an example. Now, this is something that's very important to make sure that you understand. If you get started, right, you understand when you get started, that first 10%, right, is going to be on the BP, right? So you're going to make around $232 at 10% on whatever you sell or buy. If you sell or buy 3,000. And then the next, obviously 3,000, you're going to get 20%. Why? Because you're a senior manager. So you're going to get around 464. But if you leapfrog past, see, when I got started with 6,000 SP. I didn't get started with 1,500. I didn't get started with 1,000. I didn't get started with 300. I got started with 6,000. Why did I do that? Okay, because I knew I needed the products, right? I wanted to go big. I'm the type of guy that I want to show people how to do it. I want to start successful because I know if I start successful, other people will too. Because look, if somebody gets started with 6,000, instead of making that 10%, they're going to make 20% on the entire transaction. They're going to get basically 928. Now, if they buy 4 starter sets, they're going to get a $464 cash rebate, and then they're going to get a $465 free product credit rebate, right? So they're going to get a total of 928 back on that 20% because they're going to get that 20% because they're leapfrogging past planner. You got to make sure you tell people this because maybe you only got started with 1,000-point set, or maybe you got started with a 1,500-point set. You're going to find people, right? You're going to find people that are going to want to get started at 6,000 because they want to make as much as they can as fast as they can. But if you don't explain this to people, they're not going to do it. Okay. As soon as Danny Bay told me whenever he signed me up, he said, dude, first goal is you got to get the senior manager. And I said, what does that look like? He said, 6,000, right? Anything you sell or buy. And I said, well, I can just buy 6,000. He said, yeah. He goes, yeah, you can buy up to 4 sets. I said, well, if I buy 4 1,500-point sets, that'll make me a senior manager. And he said, yep. He said, you're also going to get a 20% rebate on the entire thing. I thought to myself, this is a no-brainer, right? This is a no-brainer. And I thought nobody else was going to do that, right? So when I started sponsoring planners, they're going to get 10%. I'm going to get the difference of 20. Guess what happened? Everybody we sponsored got started at 6,000 too. right? We ended up the first, not everybody, but the first 40 people that we recruited, 38 of them got started at 6,000. Why? Because they wanted to duplicate what I did. People will do what you do, not what you say, right? So you want to make sure that when you get people started, that you explain to them that they can get started at senior manager, right? So when I got started, bam, I got started, right? With I got, one but it's got to be one transaction to get that full 20%, right? So I got 4 starter kit premiums, right? Boom. And right out the gates, guess what happened? Bam, I'm a senior manager overnight. Okay. Now, whether somebody starts as a senior manager or works their way up, they're both great, but just understand something, okay? Right? Understand that you've got to make sure that you help people realize how you start is going to duplicate. How you start is going to duplicate, okay? So how do we understand developing senior managers is everything? The way I look at it is a thermometer, and I look at a thermostat. When you look at a thermometer records the temperature, right? So if the temperature of a room is whatever the temperature is, that's going to be recorded by the thermometer. But the thermostat is a button that you can push that will change the temperature of the room. So in our organization, right, in Riman, you got to realize your new people that are getting started, how many new people are getting started on your team. That'll tell you what the temperature is your organization. And now how do you change that, right? Is how many new senior managers are getting created. See, if you're getting more senior managers created, your organization is going to start growing like wildfire. It's not very difficult to figure out, right? If you make your primary focus getting people to senior manager, right? Getting everybody senior manager, being a senior manager factory, making a non-negotiable commitment that everybody's going senior manager, you're going to whip your team into a frenzy. Your team's going to be in a frenzy because they're going to be running. They're going to be doing pop-ups. They're going to be doing invites. They're going to be promoting the calls. They're going to be going all out. Why? Because they have a goal. But if they're just sitting there, instead of crawling, walking, or running, they're just sitting there, they're not going to be taking action. So how do you get people into action? You got to have a goal, right? If everybody's goal is senior manager, senior manager, senior manager, your organization is going to be whipped into a frenzy, right? As soon as somebody gets started, boom, right? Everybody's go, let's go. Let's get them to senior manager ASAP. And everybody's not their primary focus, their only focus is to get people to senior manager. Your team is going to be whipped into an absolute frenzy. So how do we do it, right? Let's talk about it. When you love the products and you share that enthusiasm and you transfer that emotion to other people, bam, you get a new customer. When you love the Riman opportunity and you share that enthusiasm and you transfer that emotion for your love for the opportunity, you're going to get a new planner. When you love creating senior managers and you transfer that enthusiasm and excitement, and you transfer that emotion, your team is going to be motivated. They're going to be whipped into a frenzy. Okay. So if you want to motivate your team, you got to love creating senior managers. Okay. You got to love creating senior managers. When you love watching people succeed and you love watching people win and you get excited about other people's success, your success is going to be guaranteed. Okay. So you got to move past fear. You got to move past doubt. You got to move past self-imposed limitations because that's you. This ain't about you. This is about going to war for other people's goals and dreams. This is about making sure that people that get started on your team have success in the Riman opportunity. And how do we do that? We fall in love with getting everybody that gets started on our team to senior manager. And when you become a senior manager factory, your team is going to be whipped into a frenzy. And that's how you're going to be able to rank advance at a rapid rate. How many senior managers are you creating? How many people right now in your organization are you running with to create to senior manager? Okay. When everybody gets started on your team, you got to run with them to senior manager. It's got to be not the number one focus. It's got to be the only focus. Because we do two things. We become a senior manager, and then guess what we do? We develop senior managers. Okay. Now somebody goes, well, I get a lot of customers. Perfect. Why do you want to get a lot of customers? So you can help other people get a lot of customers. Right? If you've got a lot of customers, guess what's going to happen? Your team's going to get a lot of customers, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to create a lot of senior managers. You guys see that? If you're doing a lot of pop-ups and getting a lot of customer sales and getting a lot of recruits from them, guess what your team's going to do? They're going to do the same thing, which is going to create what? Senior managers. Everything you do is going to duplicate. Whatever you do is going to duplicate. And you want to duplicate what? Activity. But the activity is focused around what? Results. My mentor said, if you judge by result, he goes, you measure people by results. He said, results is the name of the game. Okay. He says, when you focus in on the results, he goes, people will shock you with their ingenuity and creativity, but you've got to have results, the name of the game. Results is the name of the game. It's the only game, right? It's all there is. So we've got to make sure that we're focusing in on the results. You got to focus in on the results. Okay. Very simple. So you got to whip your team into a frenzy. Now, number 3, leverage and binning events. Let's talk about this. And I love the fact that Chris alluded to this earlier about impending events. Impending events are everything, okay? And you got to learn how to leverage impending events. Now, let's talk about what an impending event is. Okay, best example I could give you is this. And I know some of you maybe are in countries that they don't celebrate Christmas, or maybe they don't celebrate it like we do in America, okay? But in America, and I think Canada is the same way, people buy Christmas trees. Okay, it's kind of the deal, right? Now, is it easier to sell Christmas trees in the middle of July or in the beginning of December? Think about it. Okay, if you're selling Christmas trees in July, you're struggling. Okay, you're struggling. Why? Because there's no urgency to buy a Christmas tree today. Okay, but in the beginning of December, even the end of November, now, I mean, dang near after Halloween, right? I mean, you see these guys are selling Christmas trees now, but you got to realize timing is key. Christmas is an impending event, meaning what? It's something that's on the calendar that's going to drive people to take action. Now, if you're trying to sell Christmas trees in July, you're a struggling business person in the Christmas tree business, okay? Because if I buy a Christmas tree in July, it's going to be dead by the end of July. Do you guys see that? And it's not going to be very useful for Christmas time. But if I'm selling Christmas trees in the beginning of December, they're going to be there and they're going to be ready to go. People are going to enjoy them for what? Christmas. That is an impending event. And where I live in California, there's a lot of people. So they'll turn these little parking lots into Christmas tree lots. When? Usually right after Thanksgiving. Okay? So there's a Christmas tree lot. They don't do it in July. Okay? They don't do it in July because that's not a very smart business model. Okay? That's impending events. Impending events are calendar things that are happening on the calendar that drive people to take action. See, without urgency, desire loses its value. Jackpot. Let me say it again. I like that one. Without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value. Okay? I call it the law of diminishing intent. We intend to when the information is hot. We intend to when the idea strikes us. But if we don't take action, that idea will be lost. Right? The idea will be lost. Soon, if you don't take action, it'll never be found. Right? If you get fired up to get into better shape and you go, okay, I'm gonna do it Monday, it's not gonna happen. You got to do it now, right? If you get inspired to get in better shape, you got to drop on the floor right now and start doing some push-ups. You got to order a salad or whatever, you got to take action. Because the law of diminishing intent says we intend to when the information is hot, we intend to when the idea strikes, but if we don't take action, that idea will be lost. That's the law of diminishing intent. The intent will be lost. So urgency drives people to take action. That's why at the end of the month, we had this major surge. That's why Black Friday, our sales went bananas this year. Bananas. Okay. Way biggest so far that we've ever had. Okay. Why? Okay. Because Black Friday is happening, right? That's what happens. Okay. You got to understand impending events drive volume. So I'm going to tell you how to take advantage of impending events. This is big. Okay. So an impending event is something on the calendar that will get people to take immediate action that they normally would not take. Okay. So we have impending events inside of our compensation plan, but you've got to leverage them and you got to get excited about all of them. You got to buy into all of them. So let's talk about how to take advantage of them. Okay. I'm going to give you guys 11 impending events. Pay period deadline. Okay. Pay period deadline. Pay period deadline is huge. Okay. It's huge. It's very huge. Why is pay period deadline so big? Everybody's got to get their 3 to 5 customers, right, to activate their commissions for the month. If people don't have that, they got to get it done right then, right? People are running for team leader and director, senior director, national director every month. And when is that volume? It has to be in by the end of the month to get promoted by the beginning of next month. So if I get promoted today to team leader, I get promoted today to director, what happens, right? At the first of the month, I get paid as that rank. But if I get promoted, let's say next month is December, I get promoted December 3rd, I'm not going to get promoted. I'm not going to get paid at that rank until the beginning of January. So there's a major impending event to take action when? Now. right now. Yeah, obviously we'll talk about the 1,000 SP, okay, for everybody to be able to unlock their unilevel. Got to have 10 lifetime customers, don't we? Right? And you got to have 1,000 in personal SP to be able to do what? Unlock your unilevel. So you've got to be able to understand that's a big impending event. How excited are you about pay period deadline? See, somebody goes, well, my team, I got 2 people on my team, Tim. I'm not too jacked up. Well, you have to be disciplined when the amounts are small. You got to be disciplined when the amounts are small. And we first started this organization, right? Man, I was going bananas. Pay period deadline's coming up, pay period deadline's coming up, pay period deadline's coming up. I'm still doing it. Pay period deadline, shouting it from the rooftops, man. Okay? Because I understand impending events are everything. If you want to be the master of making money, I call it M3, master of making money, you've got to leverage impending events. So number 1 impending event is what? Pay period deadline. Let's see if I got number 2 here. 1,000 and team leader maintenance, or 100,000 for directors. That's an impending event. Somebody goes 10,000. It's too high. It's too low. It doesn't matter what it is. Whatever it is what it is, right? And it's going to be something that's either people are going to run for higher volume, or they're going to set right there. Okay. And there's going to be some people that are setters, right? They're the people that are walking. Nothing wrong with that. If you want to walk, walk. Okay. So there are going to be people that are sitting on that 10,000. What's another one? What happens this month in North America if you get 30,000 in team leader SP open line volume? What happens? You get double, right? You get 200 travel points as opposed to what? 100. Do you guys see that? So that's a major what? Impending what? Event. That's a huge impending event. Okay, because if somebody's got 25,000 and we got a couple days left, it's easy to push them to get to what? 30,000. If somebody's at 7,000, we got to push them to 10. You understand? You got to get people running for whatever is available. Okay, you got to have that rank maintenance. You got to have it at something, right? I think 10,000 is too low. Because 10,000 is hard to do because it's so low, right? It's like what is that? Like create 1.5 senior managers a month and you're doing that? Like you got to be, it's easier to develop a bunch of senior managers than 1.5, right? So very important to understand. If you're creating team leaders, you're creating senior managers and rank advancing senior managers in your open line organization, that rank maintenance will never be an issue, okay? And then obviously 3 to 5 active customers I talked about earlier. That's big, right? Why? Because somebody's got 2 customers. We got to make sure that we get our what? 3rd one if they're manager, senior manager. Now remember, if I hit manager this month, I don't need my 3 customers until when? Next month. If I hit senior manager this month, I don't need my 3 customers until when? The following month, right? So it's another reason why it's a good idea to always teach people to rank advance as fast as they can. Now, if I hit team leader, right, on the 1st of the month, I don't need my 5 customers that month. So always remember the month that you hit, you don't need your active customers. It's the following month, okay? Now let's talk about another one. 30 days to upgrade a starter set. So when people get started, you want to know what's their what? Start date. And what do you want to be talking to them about? 25 days before, man, we got to upgrade you, man. The starter sets are about to go bye-bye. You're about to lose out on the starter sets, right? The starter sets are only available within people's first 30 days, and you're only allowed to buy 4. So if somebody's got 1 starter set, what do you want to do? Make sure they upgrade and get another one, right? Maybe upgrading it 3 new ones, right? Doesn't matter. You want to make sure that you upgrade people to get their starter sets before their 30-day window. How big of an impending event is that for you? How big is pay period deadline for you? How big is the 10,000? If you're, some of you aren't even team leaders yet, but just understand, you've got to make sure you're on top of your business. If you leverage the impending events, your business will duplicate fast. You'll motivate your team quick. 30 days to upgrade starter sets. You got to be upgrading your people when they get close to their 30-day deadline. Okay. 3 months as senior manager. Okay. I had a person say, well, it's the end of the month. Should I hold somebody back till next month? I thought, oh my God. No, it doesn't take 3 months to hit senior manager, and you want to create urgency, right? If I wait till the next month, I'm basically giving them 4 months to hit senior manager. I'm setting them up to fail. It doesn't take 4 months to hit senior manager, for crying out loud. It takes 7 days of work. Okay, now you can take 7 days of work and spread out over 3 months, but it just takes 7 days of activities to get to senior manager. So you want to get everybody in at the end of the month, sneak their applications in now. Why? So their start date sets now, right? Get them in and get their packs now. So they have to, you're saying you're creating urgency. You want people to get in now and get upgrade and get their starter sets now so their window starts, okay? Because it doesn't take 3 months. But if somebody maybe got started, they didn't get off to a fast start. So I always look back at the end of the month. I mean, towards the end of the month, I'm looking back at people start, because if I get started, what month is it right now, right? October, it's September, October, November. Everybody got started in September. Everybody got started in the month of September. What's happening to their 3 months? September, October, what? November. So everybody that got started in the month of what? September has till the end of the month to hit what? Senior manager or manager. It's 3 months. Are you looking back at your people that got started in September and going bananas? We got to get you to senior manager right now before pay period deadline. We got to get you to senior manager before pay period deadline. You understand? You create that urgency. You get excited. This is how you become successful in this business, guys. You leverage the impending events, man. You got to take advantage of. If you're not leveraging impending events, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know how to build this thing, right? If you're not taking advantage of the impending events, I don't even know how to build network marketing without impending events, right? Because my mentor told me, says success in network marketing is a series of impending events. I'll say it again. My mentor told me this. This is very early on in my career. I was 17 when he taught me this. Success in network marketing is a series of impending events. You got to leverage the impending events. Okay. What's another one? 5 months of team leader, right? So then you go back, right? You think back, right? What was 5 months ago? Okay. What was 5 months ago? Was it June, July, August, September, October? No, it was August, September, October, November. No, it was July. So July, August, September, October, November. So people that got started in the month of July, their 5 months is coming out. What's going to happen after their 5 months? Come December, all the volume they got in July falls off. You understand? It's not like they can't get to team leader. They can still get to team leader, but that first month volume, guess what? Falls off, right? You understand? So you want to make sure that people realize, hey, you've got this. I tell people, man, you got this much falling off. You've got this much volume falling off right now. Okay. We got to make sure that we wrap it up this month, because this month, mainly when they're going into their 5th month, right? When you're on a team leader run with people, you got to help navigate them, man. That's your job as a leader. You got to be a good leader, man. 6 months of director, same thing, right? Same thing. It doesn't take 6 months to be a director, right? I was looking at it. Out of all the people that we've recruited, man, I got the numbers somewhere. I should have actually probably written it down. But I think what percentage of it? I think like 30% of all the people that I've recruited have hit director or senior director, right? Chris and I have hit senior director or director, okay? Chris probably recruited all of them because Chris is a better recruiter than me. But I'm telling you, more than 33%, I know for sure, have became a director or senior director out of everybody I recruited, everybody we recruited, okay? Why is that? Because we help navigate people. We use these impending events. At the beginning, you use these impending events to drive people to success, okay? You got to use these impending events, right? Monthly promotions, right? What did Chris talk about when he started the call off? The promotion right now that's coming in, hit senior manager, you get that free $500 worth of product credit if you got started this month. Some people only promote the promotions they like. Holy smokes. You know what my favorite promotion is? Whatever one I got to promote. Whatever I promote, whatever I got. What's my favorite promotion? Whatever I got to promote. Like, I don't care what the promotion is because it ain't for me. You understand? I'm not getting started in the month of November. Okay? I didn't even, there was no fast start bonus when I got started. Okay? It was if you were a director and you got like 300,000, you got an extra money, or you were a team leader and you got like 50,000, you got extra money. I was brand new. This is something for brand new people. Promote it. But if it's for team leaders, all the team leaders would be excited because it's for them. Don't promote for you. You promote for them. You got to know your audience. Good God. Hello, monthly promotions, right? You got to promote the monthly promotions. That's what's going to drive people to take what? Action. Whatever you've got to promote is a lever, right? You got to have a lever to motivate people to take action. Product promotions, if they're flash sales, we got the biggest one right now happening with Black Friday. Everybody knows in Riman, Black Friday is insane, right? And you got 4 months before Black Friday. What do I mean by that? Team leaders for 4 months before Black Friday, right? July, right? July, August, September, October, November. July is when Black Friday starts. July is when Black Friday starts. Then you got Black Friday. And then you got 4 months after. You got December. You got 4 months after, right? You got December, January, February, March. You got 4 months after and 4 months before November to take advantage of what? Black Friday. Because it's an insane month of sales. But every time we have a sale, you got to take advantage of it. Somebody's like, oh, it's makeup. And it's a guy. I don't care about makeup. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? If you're a guy and all you have is guys on your team, guess what? I sell makeup. Why? Because guys that I know have wives and girlfriends, right? Hopefully not both, or they're in trouble. But you understand, you got to promote what you got. Use the sales to leverage your business, to motivate your people to take action. Whatever the sale is, promote it. Promote it. Promote the promotions, man. It's basic stuff, okay? Qualifying for that unilevel. Holy smokes, this is big, okay? If you've got, let's say you've got 20 people on your team, 20 people on your team, and you help 20 people on your team unlock the unilevel. How much volume is that? Minimum of 20,000. Hello? If you got 100 people that you help, that's what? 100,000. You understand? If you've got 100,000 people on your team and you help them all unlock, what is that? Too much money. You understand? So we've got to help people qualify for the unilevel. How do we do that? You pull a report, look in your organization, and you see how much personal volume that people have. Okay, I do it by senior managers. I go, first I started directors. Actually, first I started senior directors, and I go to directors for the month, and then I go to senior manager, team leaders, senior managers, and I look. And when I see people that are like maybe at 300 or 400, I go crazy, right? We got to make sure they get that, right? So boom, like alarms go off, right? Because you got to leverage impending events. You got to promote impending events. Now, the last one is rank advance before convention. Hello. This is a big one. When you have a convention coming up like we do in what month? February. That's a huge impending event to rank advance. Hit team leaders so you can go to the team leader party. Any of you guys that have been around, have you ever seen me promote that? Yes. Okay. Hit team leaders so you can go on stage as a team leader. Hit, guess what? Director, so you can get promoted on stage as a what? Director. You got to leverage the impending events. Hit senior manager before convention. You understand? You've got to have stuff you got to, without impending events, desire will lose its value. You've got to have impending events that are going to drive you to take action. You got to use impending events. It's going to motivate your team to take massive action, okay? So let me go through this information real quickly, okay? How to master promotions, okay? To effectively promote something, you got to buy into it. That's why you got to buy into it. You got to get excited about it. If you're excited about something, it's easy to promote it, okay? If it's a conference, if it's a Zoom, what happens is people they're new, right? The first month they're new. They're like, oh my God, these Zooms are so amazing, dude. And they're just telling everybody about it and they're promoting it. And then when they've been in for a month, they've heard it, they stop promoting it. And then they just announce it. You can't become wealthy as an announcer. You become wealthy as a promoter. You got to buy in and promote to the audience that you need to promote to, right? So learn how to promote every impending event to the correct audience. If I'm talking to a brand new person who's running for senior manager, am I promoting become a director? No, I've got to get him. I've got to say, we're going to get you a director, but first we got to get you to team leader. In order to get you a team leader, we got to get you a senior manager, right? It's first step, second step, boom, 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 right? So you got to promote to the audience. If a brand new person just got started, how important is the Tuesday orientation? If I just showed somebody the business on Wednesday, how important is the Wednesday night presentation as a second exposure? You understand? You can't just announce. You've got to what? Promote. When I get on the phone with somebody, I'm doing it through, I call them like, man, you're in luck. And you promote whatever it is, not the speakers. Oh, well, you know what? Geez, it's Tim Herr tonight. I don't want to promote him, man. He's boring, dude. Oh, it's Christy Bellison. Okay, I got to promote Christy. She's good. You don't promote who you like. You promote who you got. Whatever the presentation is, it's the greatest presentation ever. Why? Because they're brand new. But are you announcing or promoting? You can't become an announcer and expect to become wealthy. You've got to be a promoter. An announcer is somebody that just posts or just posts something on their organization, on their team. And that's it. You post so your people that are building know what to promote. You can't let a post promote for you. A post is not going to drive people into action. It's a phone call. It's a voice message. It's calling somebody up and getting them jacked out of their mind and excited about something. You can't just expect that people are not going to take action. I love what P.T. Barnum said. One of my favorite quotes of all time is by P.T. Barnum. He said, without promoting, something terrible happens. Nothing. Without promoting, something terrible happens. Nothing. So when you're promoting, how important is the next call? It's the most important thing there is. To who? The new people. Right? And when you call people afterwards, man, what did you like best about it? Was that amazing or what? Right? And at the beginning, the first 4 weeks, we got to get them many calls as possible so they're fired up like never before. Right? Because who's out there? Negative people are trying to stop them from becoming successful. Okay? So be a promoter, not an announcer. Okay? Like, just think about it. In this picture is who? Don King and Mike Buffer. Mike Buffer. Everybody knows Michael Buffer. Let's get ready to rumble. That guy's the announcer. He's not wealthy. Don King is the guy that made millions and millions and millions of dollars and never took one punch. Do you guys see that? Promoters make the money, okay? Urgency is what drives action. Without urgency, desire loses its value. You've got to have urgency. You got to have urgency. Urgency is everything, okay? Confidence is contagious. You've got to be confident. You got to be so confident. You got to know without a shadow of a doubt in your mind that you're going to the top, right? You know what I mean? It's like even when you promote the playbacks, if you just send out a group message, nobody's going to listen to it. But if you call your team up, man, oh my God, dude, I was on the train last night. Dude, I can't even sleep. I'm so fired up, man. I'm going to try to get my hands on the recording if I can, and you got to make sure you listen to this, okay? And then we'll talk afterwards. You understand? You got to promote whatever you can to get people into action. Confidence is contagious. People find a way or find an excuse. Hello. People will find a way or find an excuse. You've got to make sure that you help people find a way so they can't find an excuse. That's why you have to leverage the events, okay? Nothing is more powerful than a human soul on fire. You got to be on fire for your goals and dreams when you're running right now for rank, okay? So look, I'm going to give you guys the end of the month push. I'm going to give you an example. If you hit senior manager before the end of the month push, then guess what? You're getting paid as a senior manager on that end of the month push. The last 4 days, we do all of our volume. Not all of it, but probably about 40% of volume comes in the last 48 hours, okay? Now, if you hit senior manager on the last day of the month, you're not going to get paid on all that end of the month push. So you got to get everybody running for before the impending event, okay? Before the impending event. We have a team leader call Mondays. You got to tell everybody, man, we got to get you to team leader before Monday because I hate having you miss out on this call. This call, if you get on this team leader call, it's going to put you ahead of everybody that's missing it. You promote. It's why do you do this, okay? The unmet need motivates. Write this down. Unmet need motivates. What does that mean? What is the unmet need motivates? Very simple what the unmet need motivates is. Go jump underwater for about 45 seconds and see how motivated you are for oxygen. You're motivated, man. You want oxygen more than anything else. Why? Because you don't have any. The unmet need motivates. You got to get an unmet need for people to run for, okay? So here we go. This is it. Going on a 90-day run to convention. Here's what I want to show you. Right now, September, October, November, December, January, February. That's 6 months. If you're on 5 months, it's October, November, December, January, February. All that volume combines 5 months for what? Team leader. 6 months for what? Director. 3 months for what? You understand? Senior manager. If you get everybody running for rank, your rank is guaranteed, man. If you help everybody else get what they want, you're going to get what you want, right? That's why you want to go wide, right? Let's talk about creating a 10-wide culture. Talk about it. Everybody, I talk about it all the time, man. When you create a 10-wide culture, you set yourself up and your team up to become successful, right? Big time, right? You become a team leader. You might have 3 or 4 legs of senior managers, but you still want to get your 10 senior manager legs done, right? And have that, what we call a solid team leader foundation, okay? That's a solid team leader foundation. You build wide for profitability, and stability is in depth. Focus on building wide, 10 senior managers wide. We know we only need 3 for the structure, but never make your minimums your what? Your maximums. Let's talk about this 10-wide culture, okay? 10 legs, okay? Always works. Here's why. Number 1, 3 legs makes people wait for you to build their business, okay? If I've only got 3 legs and I'm running for director and I've only got 3 legs, those 3 legs are like, all right, man, go ahead. You build my business for me, right? But when you have 10 legs, it creates that FOMO, right? That fear of missing out. You can't lead people if you need people. You can't lead people if you need people. You understand? You can't lead them if you need them. You've got to be grinding. You got to be working with other legs, and it's going to motivate everybody to run, okay? Everybody's going to want to run. Number 2 is 10 legs creates 5 times bigger incomes, okay? Rank is good, but wealth is better. Hello. Rank is good, but wealth is better. Do you guys see that? Is it about hitting a rank fast, or is it about becoming wealthy when you get there? Bingo, right? Make more money. Okay, that's why you want to go wide. If you create a three-leg culture in your organization, oh my God, you have no idea what you're doing to yourself. You are shooting yourself in the foot with a big shotgun, not even like a little baby gun. I'm talking about a full shotgun, blow your foot right off. Okay, create a 10-leg culture. Okay, your income's going to be 5 times bigger, 5 times. Okay, guess what? 10-wide culture creates 10 times faster rank advances. Why? Because listen to me. Listen to what I say versus watch what I do. We all know leaders that are listening to me closely, but listen to me carefully, but don't watch me too closely. You want to be that leader that says, listen to what I say, but watch what I do. I'm going to show you. I can tell you or show you. I'll do both. But you want to set the pace and set the tone. When your team sees you leading from the front, right? Top of the leader charts, producing all the time. What are they going to do? They get inspired. But if they're like, oh yeah, the reason why you're successful, there's not one leg. I'm telling you right now, there's not one leg right now in our organization that says, hey, I'm making Tim and Chris's business. No, I'm not. You understand? Why? Because we've got multiple legs doing over $1 million in volume. You understand? We don't have 3 legs doing $1 million in volume. You understand? We've got 7 legs of senior directors and directors. Do you guys see that? Okay, we're working on our 8th one right now, right? And how are we doing that? Because we got 3 people that we're working on getting to 10. But I'm just letting you know, you got to create that 10-wide culture. I'm doing it, and it's paying off, right? You've got to make sure you understand creating multiple legs is how you become wealthy, okay? 10-wide culture makes leaders stronger, okay? Why? Because I can teach. It's teach you to fish versus feeding people. You understand? You don't stack people under other people, right? That's not this comp plan. Those comp plans are what have hurt the industry of direct sales. Comp plans are like, do you have, when leaders get started, do you have a holding tank? A holding tank? What? Can I play somebody? What? Dude, go wide. Don't give your team away and put them under somebody else. Number one, it makes that new guy feel like, why are you putting me under this person? Right? I'm the man. I want to be the man. Put me front line. I want to be on your front line. I don't want to be placed down this person's organization. Why? Because they're weak and you have to prop them up. If you got a runaway leg that's doing 60 or 70% of your volume, are you putting people down that leg? No. I'm not putting people down nobody's leg. But when you put people down a leg like that, guess what happens? Right? You don't do that. So why would you want to place somebody under somebody else? I don't want to be under this person. I want to be on your front line, man. I want to be one of your key players. Right? I'm telling you, that's what you want to do. Create a 10-wide culture. Creating leaders. Teaching people how to fish is better than feeding them. Okay? So let's wrap this thing up here. Call to action. Enter all volume before pay period deadline. Okay? Tonight at 11:59, what's happening? What's happening tonight at 11:59 p.m.? Black Friday promotions are ending in North America. Make sure you take advantage of it, okay? Get your new team, new planners qualified for the Fast Start bonus. It ends on what? Sunday night. Make sure everybody's got either their 1,000 for 100 free product credit, 250 product credit for getting manager or senior manager, 500. Remember what we talked about, using bidding events to drive your volume. Get qualified for Costa Rica, and guess what? Go senior manager before the end of the month close. Tonight, you guys, we gave you a lot of information. Tonight, we laid it out. But I wanted to give you that next level stuff. I wanted to give you guys that next level stuff so you could understand it's not by accident. You don't become wealthy on accident. You understand? You've got to have a plan and you've got to take action. It's easier to do fast than it is to do slow. You don't want to be the king. You want to be the king maker. Make a decision in your mind. Make a decision in your heart right now that says, I'm going to the top. I am going to make it happen. Over, under, through, I'm going to get the job done. You got to make a decision in your mind and your heart that says, this is my time to do something special. This is my time to do something great. I'm going to get the job done. This is it, right? I'm going to run for rank right now. We got the convention coming out. Nothing can stop me. Nothing can stop me. Over, under, through, I'm going to make it happen. Nothing can get in my way. I got the convention coming up and I'm running right now more than ever before. This is it. This is our time to do something great. This is our time to do something special. How bad do you want to win? Let me ask you this. What does you on fire look like? What does you with an eye gaze that says, I'm up to something? What does that look like? What does that look like when you're running for something and people can sense that you're up to something? You got to be running right now like never before. This moment in time will never happen again. But what does you on fire look like? What does you with an eye gaze that says, man, I'm up to something. You got to join me. You got to have that fire. You got to be on fire right now. This is it. Let's light ourselves on fire. When you light yourself on fire, people will come from miles to watch you burn. What would happen right now if you gave it everything that you got? What would happen if you ran right now like never before? There's no speed limit. There's no speed limit. There's no speed limit in this business. We can go as fast as we want. So I'm going to challenge you to step up, to step out, and to go all out massive action, man. Let's make it happen. Let's have a great weekend as we close this thing out in a big way. God bless you. Hey, next Friday, Leadership 101. Leadership 101. It's going to be big. Don't miss it. Next Friday. Let's make it happen, everybody. Woo. And I'm pumped.